we have the Magician card. So I'm going to show you two different aspects, because I feel like I have one deck that has the Magician kind of represented a different way that I actually think is a very interesting aspect. So we have this Magician card, which is your traditional Magician card. Here you have this fairly young guy. He has the infinity symbol above him, the sun's behind him. He's holding up a, let's see, in this one I think he's holding up a wand here. And then okay, sorry, I have to look at it because I can't see it that well from the mirror effect. But there is the sword, there's the sword there, the cup there, and the pentacle there. Okay, so let's talk about the Magician. So the Magician, he is the Magician. This guy right here is, I love your face too. This guy is the Magician. These are his tools. These tools, the wand included, have no power without the Magician, without his intent, without his will. The infinity symbol is that of consciousness, of the thing that's presiding within him, of which is able to support his will. You have the sun, which represents him being divinely supported. And of course you have nature, because he's when you're manipulating things, the idea of magic is that you are able to manipulate the nature of things. And so nature is represented here as well. But these are his tools. Now let's explain the tools. So he has the cup, which is his emotion. He has the pentacle, which could be stability and balance. If we're talking in terms of career, we're talking about the money is there, the potentiality, because it's only one. So the potentiality of the resources are there. If you're talking about love, it's a person who is actually stable. And we'll talk more about that too. We have the sword behind here, which is about communication. Now, when you're working with the minor arcana, these things kind of come more so into play from the suits of the actual cards. We have the wand. The wand is going to represent his passion or his will. His passion or his will. If you think of someone like Harry Potter, Expecto Patronus, he's exerting his will on a thing to make the thing happen. So it's also kind of phallic. And so it's the masculine energy that is able to actually put forth things and allow things to happen. So it's that masculine sort of energy. It's that kind of like piercing of the sky, or a piercing of the elements to exert your will. So we have that. So I'm going to go over the other card, and then we're going to talk about how we can use Magician. So the other card is, this is another deck that I have, which is Tarot for a Time Being. So Tarot for a Time Being is one that's actually made by a musician. And so this one, he has the Magician as sort of the if you think about it, the master of ceremonies, the performer. We're going to call it the performer. How captivated are we when we see someone like a Lady Gaga or a Madonna or Radiohead or whoever? We're captivated in that moment. They are the magician. They're taking all of the energy of the crowd, all the energy of the moment, and they're channeling into some sort of creativity that is then being projected out. Okay. And so this is the performer is actually a really, really good sort of master, can be a master of illusion, but master of ceremony, that sort of thing. The performer is the magician. The ability to be able to captivate, to glamour is an act of a magician. So how do we utilize it? So by utilizing it, we have to first understand it. As I said before, the magician is the magician, with or without these tools. Now, the representation of these tools are actually talking about the elements that he's using. They're not the physical things. These physical things are just kind of, again, they're symbolic, the representations. So let's talk about relationships, okay? What I've noticed is, working with people is that when we're talking about like, oh, well, I don't have this or I don't have that in terms of relationships, what you're talking about is you're talking about a balance that has to be met. And it's not about doing this work as if you're not enough. The magician is the magician. The magician is enough. Okay? The magician is the magician. Now, if the magician is not employing his tools correctly, then he's going to get the wrong results, which is why we do shadow work, which is why we do, do sort of like going into, what are our traumas and what has happened, which is why we go into our feelings towards the masculine and the feminine, is because of the fact that if those things are not balanced, you're not going to get the result that you are desiring. And the thing is that you are born the magician. Like, you are the fool, you are the magician. These things are archetypes and you are the things. So as the magician, if you don't balance the things within you, then what's going to end up happening is you're going to manifest the wrong results. Period. It is, it's, we want to say as above, so below, but really the above and the below are the same. And so if you are chaotic, your environment's chaotic. If you feel like I'm glad it is. If you feel like you have lack, then you have lack. If you feel that, that you're not worthy of love, then your environment's going to reflect that. If you have this hatred for the opposite sex and you're trying to date the opposite sex, or you have hatred for the same sex and you're trying to date the same sex, that is what you're going to cultivate. In fact, if you are a person who's even just looking for certain friends and you have this thing within you that's like, oh, I hate this type of person, those type of people are going to aggress you. That's going to turn on you because that is what you are attracting. You are the magician. The tools have to be in balance. And so the perfect version of these things is, the cups, your emotions are in check. There's actually a really interesting exercise that I did a long time ago with some of my, I think they were Thelemite friends, which is, there's this thing called the black and white mirror. And the black and white mirror was basically a process where you go through and you figure out which elements. Oh no, you figure out what your weaknesses and your strengths are and how those correspond with elements. And it's basically to tell you which things that you actually have to balance in order to balance your emotions so that you are a better magician. Everything emanates from you. So, how are the ways that we can kind of utilize that? If you think about thought, okay, there's the thing called the mysteries of the Sphinx: to know, to will, to dare, and to keep silent. Okay, to know what it is that you want. So that's going to be the mental aspects. So that's going to be corresponding with the swords. So you have to know, not think, not doubt, but know. To know. To will, to exert your will. That's that wand element. Okay. To exert your will. What is the thing? First of all, what is the divine will versus your will? So that's another thing, because a lot of times when you're talking about the divine will is usually going to know and be a little bit better than your actual will on this planet, because your will on this planet, your personal will, a lot of times comes with a lot of shit. The divine will is your higher self will. Let's call it your higher self will. Your higher self will is essentially the will that is based in your innate wholeness. So your higher self will is based in your innate wholeness. Your innate wholeness knows who you are, ultimately, without all the fears, without all the bullshit, without all the things that you think you are. It knows what you are. Okay? It knows that you're divinely perfect and divinely made. It's not affected by your traumas. It's not affected by environments. That is your highest self will, your divine will. You can call it your higher self. You can call it God. You can call it consciousness. You call it whatever it is. But that thing knows, and it exists. It never goes anywhere. Okay, and so you have your divine will, and then you have your will. Now, your will is sometimes based in a lot of muck, and has a limited capacity based off of ever-changing environments, quantum entanglement, other people's perceptions, fears, etc. So we have divine will and we have your will. And so to exert will, to know what you want to do, to will, to dare. So take action. So this is now an action thing. That's that expecto patronus. If Harry Potter just took the wand and just held it in the air and was like, I expecto patronus, nothing's going to happen. But like he takes the wand and he expecto patronus, and makes things happen. So that's, to dare, to take action and to keep silent. Now this is where, and this is, I'm giving you guys some like deep, like esoteric knowledge. Okay. So just letting you know, some people thought I shouldn't be giving this out, but, so to keep silent. So basically you don't want to tell everybody your business. You don't want to tell everybody what your, oh, thank you. You don't want to tell everybody your business. You don't want to tell everybody what your will is. Once you get the message, once you know what your will is, you don't want to tell everybody what your will is. Because again, there are environmental factors. And those environmental factors could be people's jealousy. That could be people's perceptions. That could be people's fears. You can have the people that love you the most in this world. And the moment you tell them you're happy is the moment they're throwing evil eye on you. Is the moment that they're sitting here and projecting their own bullshit on you. Is the moment that they're sitting there and saying like, oh yeah, well, I don't know if that's going to work out for so-and-so. Because people can only see you as expanded or as limited as the people can only see you as much as they can see themselves, basically. People can only see you as much as they see themselves, and most people don't see themselves. So keep your damn mouth shut. How do you deal with that? Keep your damn mouth shut.